At the very beginning of this episode, Spice and Rasheeda end up meeting up with each other, and Spice starts telling Rasheeda about how she got into it with Jasmine at Jessica's event a few episodes ago, and that's when Rasheeda immediately starts telling her how Kirk is trying to get full custody of the son that he has with Jasmine and how she's all for it. And I'm sorry, but I always shake my head at Rasheeda every time she talks about this Kirk and Jasmine situation, because had she would have left Kirk when he had a baby outside of his marriage with Jasmine, she wouldn't even be involved in this situation to begin with. I mean, she has a right to have a problem with Jasmine because Jasmine had a baby by her husband. However, she seems to have more smoke for Jasmine than she does for Kirk when he's the one that really did her dirty in that situation. I just feel like Kirk got off scot-free. I know she claims that he did not get off scot-free, but just by the looks of it from the show, it seems like he did. Now, Yandy ends up showing up while Spice and Rasheeda are having this conversation, and she shows up pretty upset with the two of them because she said that she had to find out from Jessica, who's not even really her friend, about the rumors being spread about Mendeecees cheating, and she felt like she should have heard about it from Spice and Rasheeda. Now look, Spice says that she was not hanging around Jasmine. She did go to Jessica's event, but Jasmine was there and she didn't speak to her, and that is the truth. Spice didn't want anything to do with Jasmine when she showed up to that event, so she wasn't even there for the conversation that was had about Mendeecees. And Rasheeda said that she was not at that event at all and wasn't anywhere near of Jasmine, so she doesn't understand where Yandy's coming from with being upset with the two of them. And basically, Yandy said that she believes Spice, that Spice was not speaking to Jasmine at all and that she wasn't there for the conversation about Mendeecees. However, she did say in her confessional that she does feel some type of way about Rasheeda because this is the second time that there's been some type of rumor going around about Mendeecees, and Rasheeda knows about it and she doesn't tell her, so she feels some type of way. And look, I feel like Yandy and Rasheeda are kind of the same people when it comes to how they are in their relationships. They'll stand by their husbands regardless of what they do. Somebody can put proof in front of their face and they still won't believe it. So I don't really feel bad for Yandy or Rasheeda in this situation at all. I don't understand why, Yandy is acting like she wants them to tell her what's being said about Mendeecees when she's only gonna lie for him anyway, just like she did in last week's episode. And Rasheeda gets in her confessional and she makes a shady comment about Yandy because she did not believe Yandy's story, because Yandy ends up telling Spice and Rasheeda that when Jessica tried to approach her showing her the receipts of Mendeecees allegedly talking to her niece, she said that she was the one that was actually talking to this woman, and tells them that whole club story about Robin going up to Mendeecees trying to talk to him and telling him to contact her on social media and saying that she's the one that actually did it and not Mendeecees. Rasheeda got in her confessional and she said that she does not believe Yandy because when Yandy was telling the story about the club situation, Yandy was far away from Mendeecees and Robin. So she feels like, Yandy wouldn't be able to recognize this woman's face from that far away to be able to find her on social media. So she feels like Mendeecees was actually the one that messaged this woman. And most people feel like that. A lot of people feel like Yandy is lying for Mendeecees. And I don't know if she's lying for Mendeecees, okay? Her story doesn't really make much sense, but I have seen women pretend to be their man sometimes in other people's inboxes. I've definitely seen women crash out like this, so it's not too far-fetched, but I don't really believe it. Now, Jessica and Bambi end up going to meet with Jasmine at her studio session, and Bambi said that even though her and Jasmine are not actually friends with each other, she doesn't agree with everybody jumping down Jasmine's throat every single time they see her. She can understand if Jasmine does something to them, but if she's not bothering them, she doesn't see the need for everybody to attack her every time they're around her. And I agree. I mean, I understand why they don't like Jasmine because she has the reputation of being a homewrecker. However, they don't keep that same energy with Kirk. So I feel like if they're going to be nice to Kirk every time they see him, then they don't have to crash out and go off on Jasmine every time they see her too. I don't feel like they have to be Jasmine's friend. They don't even have to acknowledge her existence. But taking off your shoes and trying to fight her at a club is stupid. Now, Jessica ends up telling Bambi and Jasmine about her meetup with Yandy in last week's episode and how Yandy tried to take the blame for Mendeecees messaging her niece Robin, and none of them said that they believed what Yandy was saying. Nobody believes what Yandy is saying, but Bambi was right in what she said to Jessica and Jasmine. She told them that because these women don't want to hear what their men are doing behind their backs, they should probably stop telling them, and I completely agree. People like Yandy and Rasheeda, they don't care what their husbands are doing. They're gonna stick beside them regardless of what's out there about them. We've seen that with Rasheeda and we're now seeing that with Yandy. So there's no point in these women trying to show receipts and stuff because even if they see receipts, I don't believe that they'll leave them anyway. Speaking of Kirk, Jasmine ends up dropping off their son to him in this episode, and when their son goes inside, they have a conversation about Kirk trying to get full custody. Obviously, Jasmine doesn't believe that Kirk actually wants full custody of their son. She just feels like he doesn't want to have to pay child support, and he basically confirmed that a few episodes ago that that's the reason why he's doing it, or at least one of the biggest reasons why he's doing it. But Kirk ends up letting her know that he met up with Rod in last week's episode, and Jasmine gets really upset about this because apparently Rod never told her that he was meeting up with Kirk, and so she feels like they were meeting up to talk about her behind her back. And I can kind of understand why she was upset about this, because she did open up to Rod about the whole Kirk situation and him trying to get full custody, and she probably feels like Rod went back and told him everything that she was saying. So it's like a violation of trust. But Kirk said something interesting during this conversation with Jasmine. He said that he now has control of her because Rod has control of her. So now that he's talking to Rod, now he can control her, which was really messy of him to say. I just don't feel like he should have said that with the cameras rolling like that. I don't know. This dynamic between the two of them is interesting. Now, Spice ends up having a little event and she ends up inviting everybody to come. Rasheeda shows up, Yandy comes, Bambi and Zell show up together. Ashley, Amy, and Erica Banks also end up coming too. And things get a little bit messy, okay? Because Erica Banks, Yandy, and Amy start talking to each other, and basically Yandy ends up asking Erica Banks what she's been up to, and Erica Banks mentions that she recently met up with Jasmine and said that she really does like Jasmine. And that's when Yandy starts taking shots at Jasmine, saying that she understands why Erica Banks likes her if she's cool with hanging around homewreckers, which, okay, I do feel like it was wrong for her to sleep with a married man. However, they're not holding Kirk to the same standard that they're holding Jasmine to. She was wrong for knowingly sleeping with a married man, but he was also wrong, and more in the wrong in my opinion, because he went out and stepped out on his marriage. He's the one that's married. He's the one that has a connection to Rasheeda, not Jasmine. So if they're gonna call her a homewrecker, they need to be calling Kirk something too. And why are they going so then Yandy starts asking Erica Banks if she's friends with Rasheeda, and Erica says that she's not friends with Rasheeda, but that when they see each other, they do speak to one another. So basically, they're acquaintances. And I guess Erica Banks peeped that Yandy was being a little bit shady to her, so she decided to be a little bit shady back and ask her how her friendship is doing with Rasheeda. And that's when Amy ends up jumping in and she starts asking Yandy if Rasheeda called her to check on her after the fight that happened at the concert. Now, if you paid attention, at the end of last season, there was a concert. Yandy and Mendeecees was there, Jasmine was there with some of her friends, and they went up to Yandy and Mendeecees and started confronting them, and things almost ended up turning physical. And so Yandy ended up telling Amy and Erica Banks that Rasheeda wasn't there, so Rasheeda didn't know anything about it. But Erica Banks makes sure to tell Yandy that when she had her album release party earlier this season, Rasheeda was sitting over there talking about the situation that happened. So even though Rasheeda wasn't there, she definitely heard about it. So that made Yandy feel some type of way, because she feels like if Rasheeda knew about the situation, why didn't she call her up to try to check on her and see what was going on? Because Yandy feels like the only reason why she's in this situation with Jasmine and her friends is because they're trying to get back at Kirk and Rasheeda, and obviously Yandy and Mendeecees are cool with Kirk and Rasheeda. So they end up calling Rasheeda into the room because Yandy wants Rasheeda to explain herself, and Rasheeda was sitting over there kind of trying to lie. Erica Banks kept reminding Rasheeda of what she said when they met up earlier this season, and Rasheeda tried to make it seem like, you know, she didn't know about the situation. She found out later on, and that she's not messy, so that's the reason why she didn't call Yandy about it. Rasheeda starts getting pissed off at Yandy and starts taking shots at Yandy, okay? Rasheeda starts saying that she didn't have to call Yandy about it because the situation had nothing to do with her or Kirk, and that those women were at that concert because they specifically wanted to confront Mendeecees. I personally think that Yandy is upset with Rasheeda, not because she didn't call her to check on her after the situation, but because she doesn't like that she's being compared to Rasheeda right now. Nobody really wants to be compared to Rasheeda, and everybody is comparing Yandy to her because she's acting the same way in her relationship. And I'm not saying that Rasheeda isn't wrong in this situation somewhat, but I am saying that I feel like Yandy wants to keep her relationship picture perfect and squeaky clean. She doesn't want it to look like she's in the same relationship that Rasheeda's in, where she's with a husband who continuously cheats on her, and that's the reason why she's really upset, because of all these rumors swirling around. I really do feel like she needs to take it up with Mendeecees though, because apparently everybody's saying that he's out here disrespecting his marriage to Yandy, so she needs to confront him about what exactly he's out here doing that has everybody talking. Now, after Rasheeda leaves because she got mad, Bambi ends up telling Zell that she does want to have a conversation with Spice about how she's feeling about what she was told by Amy when they were in London. But she did say that she was nervous to have the conversation with Spice because anytime somebody talks to Spice about anything, she gets really defensive and she starts going off, and that's not really the type of conversation that Bambi wants to have. But Zell ends up going up to Spice and basically alluding to the fact that Bambi wants to talk to her. So Spice ends up approaching Bambi, and Bambi ends up telling her what her issue is. She said that when they were in London, Amy told her when they were in the car that she did not originally write a diss track about Bambi and Sierra. She originally had a verse that had nothing to do with them on there, but because she said that Spice told her that Bambi was writing a diss track about her, that's when she decided to change the verse to a diss track. And so basically Spice gets upset about this and she calls Amy over because she's saying that Amy is not being truthful. She's saying that Amy already wrote her whole verse before she even showed up to the studio, which they did end up showing the clip of Amy telling Spice when she was at the studio that she wrote her verse in the car. So when they end up calling Amy over there, she lies and says that she never told Bambi that Spice told her that she was writing a diss track about her, and that's the reason why she ended up changing her verse to a diss track about Bambi and Sierra. And Bambi is literally taken aback because she's so confused as to why Amy is sitting up there lying. And listen, Amy is lying. They showed the clip twice. They showed it a few episodes ago, and then they showed it in this episode of Amy literally telling Bambi that she originally did not write a diss track about her and Sierra, but when Spice told her that Bambi was writing a diss track about her, that's when she switched it. Now, they didn't show any clip of Spice saying that, Bambi was writing a diss track about Amy. And apparently, according to Spice, Bambi wrote her diss track after Amy wrote hers. So I don't know who's telling the truth in this situation, but I know that Amy said what Bambi said that she said. So then Amy storms off calling Bambi a liar and she leaves. And then basically Spice gets pissed off at Bambi and she starts yelling at her, saying that Bambi's trying to put her in a box, making her look like she's messy. And Bambi tells her that she makes herself look messy. And Spice needs to take accountability, okay? Because somebody's lying in this situation and it's not Bambi. So Spice needs to own up to whatever it is that she said to Amy or whatever conversation her and Amy had. We already know that Amy was lying, but Spice seems to never want to take accountability for her part in things. She is messy sometimes. Is she messy all the time? No, but sometimes she definitely is messy and she never wants to own up to what she does too. So those are my thoughts on this week's episode of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode down in the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like button for me. I appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos and hit the notification bell so that you know every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much to everybody who has subscribed to my channel. I appreciate you all. And until next time, I will talk to you guys in my next video.